So the devious steward is rewarded by the very person he cheats for being so clever. Are you confused, annoyed, or frustrated by this gospel story? Are you confused, annoyed, and frustrated? Good. All the explanations Jesus gives of the story, and there are several you might have noticed, either don't make sense or obviously contradict the story. Does this make any sense? Make friends with dishonest wealth so that you'll be welcomed into heaven. And what do these sayings have to do with the story? The person who is trustworthy in small things is trustworthy in big ones. No servant can serve two masters. There is one thing Jesus says about his story that does make sense and explains the point of the story. And he says it right after the story. Along with the story and the explanation about making friends with dishonest wealth, it's actually an optional part of today's gospel proclamation. The only required part is all those disjointed sayings at the end. Jesus says, the children of this world are more prudent or clever or shrewd or enterprising in dealing with their own generation than the children of light. Is there really something we can learn from this criminal about being Jesus' followers? I got to wondering whether, if this is true, maybe there are some other criminals we could learn from. Yes, I thought about Walter White, and there were a lot of articles on him. But I found an article about what criminals can teach people in business. That sounds more plausible than thinking they can teach us something about being Christian. But I thought I'd try to adapt the article's lessons for us. Instead of learning from criminals how to get rich, maybe we can learn from them how to help the poor, including those who hunger for God's love and mercy. So, new students, the learning begins now. This is Criminal Christianity 101. If you think you're in the wrong class, now's the time to leave, but please don't. We need more good criminally Christian people in our community. Don't we? Well, I'll ask you again after Mass. Sir Francis Drake was knighted in Britain, but had a huge bounty on his head in Spain. I'll ask Natalia about this afterwards. I just met Natalia from Spain. Had a huge bounty on his head in Spain for piracy. She probably doesn't know who Sir Francis Drake was. The lesson offered by the article, you can't please everyone. Actually, this one is pretty easily adapted for the Christian life. Living out God's call to serve the poor and to love everyone is bound to get us in trouble. If we're not in trouble, we're probably not doing it right. In his criminal scheme, Charles Ponzi offered huge returns on investment for no real work. Is there a way to do this legally? Probably not, but we Christians can offer God's love to people even when, especially when, they don't do good at all. It's called forgiveness, and it's free. George Parker pretended to sell New York's landmarks. Want to buy the Brooklyn Bridge? Sign here. The article's lesson, find a niche market. Like gullible New Yorkophiles, I guess. Who are the people in your life? Who's that niche market? Who are the people in your life who are ready for the offer of God's love? Maybe your family is a niche market. Your friends. Now, since it's Latino Heritage Month, let's learn from Argentinian con man Eduardo de Valfierno, who stole the Mona Lisa, then sold multiple forgeries of the painting to various owners. Valfierno knew how to create value. How can we help people to see what they hunger for? What they value most is God. Lucky Luciano built a team of collaborators called the Mafia. Christians are at their best when they're journeying together as a community. La Familia. Frank Abagnale, he's the one depicted by Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie Catch Me If You Can. He committed fraud by falsely positioning himself as an expert, a lawyer, a doctor, a pilot, and 5 other occupations, and he did all these things between the ages of 15 and 21. So new students get busy. Can we claim to be experts on something? Perhaps God's mercy? Actually, if you sin, then accept God's mercy, really accept it, you're on your way to such expertise. So your homework is to... No. Meyer Lansky grew his illegal gambling empire by networking with the mafia. How can we increase our effectiveness in helping the poor by allying ourselves with non-Catholic do-gooders? Not to say non-Catholic do-gooders or anything like the mafia. George Greenhall's Garden Shed Gang created and sold art forgeries from his garden shed when he was in his 80s. We're never too old to think outside the box, even if it's from inside a shed. How can we Christians of all ages think outside the box in order to bring Christ's love to others? And just to revisit our enterprising steward in today's gospel story, he was actually practicing mercy. He was forgiving the debts of others. Of course, the forgiveness was only partial, and it was to benefit himself, not the debtors. But how can we cheat the owner of mercy, God? By squandering his love, by dishing out his mercy indiscriminately, not for our own sakes, but for the sake of others. There it is, an introduction to Christian criminality, or criminal Christianity. Your homework is to find a way each day this week to be criminally Christian. But wait, there's one more criminal we should probably talk about. Jesus, who was actually executed as a criminal. God was clever and enterprising enough to become human. Then he practiced criminal love for the poor and outcasts until the authorities couldn't take it anymore. The devious steward isn't us. It's Christ. And we are his fortunate victims.